So if one of them was not in, if they were sick, on vacation, anything like that, then I did their alphabet, and then also the extra work of everyone else's. So, and then I also did the secretarial work as well whenever one of the ladies out front weren't there. I had planned to obtain my life and health license, but with everyone being on vacation over the summer and several of the agents were sick, I did have a lot more work than I had anticipated. But I do plan to take that test in the next couple of weeks. I have been studying very hard, but it's just not working right now. So I've also began quoting and actually writing the property and casualty policies, including commercial policies. I've learned a lot. I still have a whole lot to learn, but I'm working on it. And I also balance the payments once or twice a week. We have to take what we earn that day, balance out the cash checks, and prepare the deposit slip, and then also put it into our system, our software of QuickBooks. I also have begun taking my continuing education courses. The state of West Virginia requires producers licensed in the state to take 24 hours every 2 years, with 3 of the hours must be in ethics. So I've taken probably, I think, 6 hours right now, and I still have a year and a half to take the other. The problem solving on this internship, I encountered many problems, but a few of them were, one of them was handling my emotions with angry customers. I quickly found out that I did not do well with criticism or people yelling at me, and I have a few examples, but I won't go into them right now. I quickly learned that people will get mad at you, especially when you're taking their money. But I have learned that you just gotta do what you can, help them in any way you can, and just move on. So that's really helped me, not only in the insurance business, but I believe that will help me later on in life in different aspects of life. This one's kind of sad, but one of the problems was I was very trusting of everybody. And when you get people to call in quotes, they lie. They all lie. Very few tell the whole truth, because they think if they tell you that they didn't have any claims, any things like that, then their premium will be less. But once we run their license and their social security number, everything pops up. So I've actually been able to learn to not trust everybody. It is very sad, but it helps me it helps me to appreciate the people I really can trust. I've also had come into a problem of being able to manage myself when I feel overwhelmed. Like I said, I did all the extra work. So when someone was gone, I did all of their work, plus all of the extra work, plus all of the extra secretarial work, and I quickly became overwhelmed. But I've learned to manage myself and just take one step at a time and get everything done. And then the conclusion, I enjoyed my internship experience at Appalachian Insurance Agency, and I definitely learned a lot. I'm very thankful to Pete Tolliver, the principal agent, for working with me to set up this internship and mentoring me through it. I will definitely be able to use the knowledge that I've gained through this in any workplace and in other aspects of my life. And does anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Would you explain what you meant when you said people lie and you find out the truth when you run their social security number? And why is that important in insurance?
Well, we ask them a lot of questions, like if they'd had any accidents, if their licenses had been revoked or suspended, also if they've even ever been arrested, because Erie is very picky and they only allow a few violations in the past 5 years. And once you put everything in the quoting system, you hit print report or run reports, and the system actually runs their license number and their social security number and pops up with all of the violations they've had in the past 5 years. So I had one example. I fought for this one customer, and I just knew that he was eerie, and my principal agent just had something against it. Didn't feel like he was eerie, and I fought for him, and I finally got all of his information. I ran it, and there were at least 10 violations, arrests, suspensions, everything, and so, yeah.
And does your rate change based on your Social Security credit report?
Yes. Yes, it does.
They all need to know.
Yes, it does. Credit is
Credit
very,
report
very
affects your
important.
rate.
It is very important. Yes. Any other questions?
Thank you, Savannah.
All right. My name is Jordan Toller. I'm a senior here, majoring in accounting and finance. I did my summer internship this past summer at LM Restaurants. They are a hospitality management group, meaning they manage multiple restaurants. They were founded in 1987. They do about $90 million in annual sales. Their number of employees are about 2,500. 50 of those are corporate. So most of those are just in-store employees and such. A little background history, a man named Lou Mashakis, which LM Restaurants, that's where it comes from, moved to Canada when he was 18 from Greece. He started a cleaning business there. About 5-6 years later, he moved to Florida, where he started his first restaurant, Seafood Shanty. It's kind of a low-end, seafoody type place. He then proceeded to sell that and open Miami Subs in 1987. This was kind of a quick-serve restaurant. He then, he was married at the time, had his first daughter, decided to move to Raleigh. I guess better lifestyle, better living. Moved the concept of Miami Subs with him. Opened, I think it was about 6 more restaurants in Raleigh. And then in 1999, sold all the Miami Subs and opened the first Carolina Ale House concept, which is that's their main concept that LM manages. It's a little overview of the internship. It went from about end of May through beginning of August. I think that's about 12 weeks. My direct report was the VP of Finance, a man named John Fink. And the main objectives were just to gain overall financial and accounting experience within a company. How did I secure this? My mom is the controller of this company. She's been there for about 20 years. So when they hired on John Fink about a year ago, he was talking about gathering financial information. They don't really have a finance department. My mom, as a controller, was running all their financial information and gathering that stuff. So when they hired on John, he had a bunch of ideas that he just couldn't do because of time restraints or whatever, anything like that. So my mom threw the idea out, and he liked it, and it was a fit. So the rest is history there. Carolina Ale House, like I said, this is their main brand. They have 17 corporate stores located in North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. Some of the standout cities are Raleigh, Charlotte, Wilmington, and Knoxville, Tennessee. They also have 13 franchise stores, South Carolina, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Again, some standout cities there are Miami, Columbia, Augusta, Georgia, and Charleston. Carolina Ale House is a bar and restaurant. They have probably 30 TVs there. They're known for having a large selection of tap. I think their biggest store they have has 72 taps, which is pretty big compared to really any competitor you see in any market. And that's kind of their thing. They want to be really known for their beverage. They really want to sell that 72 tap beer selection. And some of their signature brands. Signature brands meaning one-offs. There's only one of these. It's not a brand like Carolina Ale House is. So Blue Water and Oceanic, this is their seafoody stuff. It's in Wrightsville, North Carolina. This is just a pretty moderate scale seafood restaurant. They also have a grill there for people who don't like seafood. Taverna Agora. This is their Greek restaurant. Like I said, Lou Mashakis. He's from Greece, so this is kind of his hometown restaurant, so his little baby, I guess you could say. This is located in Raleigh as well. Henry and Hop Supply Co. They're kind of an upscale ale house. So they have TVs, nice bar, but it's nicer food, better quality. And these are located in Wilmington. And then this is a picture. I couldn't get a really good picture. They have a Greek olive oil line called Flying Olive Farms. Again, you can link that back to Lou, the Greek connection. They just launched that, I believe, 2 years ago, and they sell it on Amazon, of course. And then I don't know if you guys are familiar with Whole Foods. That's one of their main distributors of their olive line. So my main goal of this was, or my main duties for this was projects. John would have these big ideas, all this information he wants to bring, and I would do it. Here's some sample of my the projects I did. Kids meal promotion. I'll go into more detail on that in a little bit, but that's basically, they have a 99-cent kids eat for 99 cents on Tuesdays. I ran an analysis report on that. Beer pricing competitive intelligence. This is his big idea for the summer. He wanted to see what beers we were selling that our competitors weren't, what beers were our competitors selling that we weren't, and stuff like that in the different markets they have. I worked on that for the duration of the summer, and I worked with, I believe her title was operations analyst, and I worked hand in hand with her in creating a dynamic workbook for that can be maintained and updated, obviously after the intern left. Midnight sales, I want to look at sales after 12 o'clock, basically. They open or they close at 2. The owner was just like, do we want to still open at 2? Do you want to close at 1, close at 12? So I got some sales information on that. Beverage mix and sales. Like I said, they want to have a high beverage mix, meaning they want to sell more alcoholic beverages than food. Reasoning behind this is the penny profit on that is a lot higher. Not as much operating costs, obviously. Just have a bartender pouring drinks, mixing drinks. Compared to food, which you have tons of more overhead and whatnot. And then I did some job shadowing of the accounting department. Now some of the software I use to gather my information, this is iControl. This is really the main avenue I got all my, right here, my sales summary, my sales mix, meaning so for 10, 11 o'clock, how much percent of food is sold, how much percent of beverages is sold. And that you can break that down by item, by shift, by day, break it up for a year. It's very malleable, and the specs you can change to get the information you need. This is an example report that's pulled from iControl. I just want to see an overview, but this is really what I want to focus on. Like I said, you can break it up by hour. This is, I think, a day for a specific store and their sales and stuff. You can see they have this year on the day, last week on this day, and then last year on this day, and the variances between. I mainly used this year's sales, obviously. So I mean, this was really helpful and important. I mean, it spit out the exact information that was needed to have all these analysis and such. Now I want to talk to you guys about an example. I think this example really shows just exactly what I did from start to finish. Just a few slides. A little background to better understand it. This is the kids meal promotion. So we said $1 kids meal on Tuesdays, and that's how much it costs during the promotion, discounted. $5 during the not during the promotion, so any other day of the week, it was $5, and we assumed 30% of that is food costs, which you can do the math. 30% of $5 is $1.50. So you can see right there that we sell it for $1. It costs us $1.50. So there's that 50 cents that we're investing. So when I say investing, I said loss. That's what I said at first. John said no. We don't want to say loss. We want to say investing because that sounds better. It's positive because investing is you're putting money in to see more money out. That's basically what this is. The whole concept around the kids promotion is you get the kids in to eat for free, the parents come with them and buy a bunch more. So the project was meant to see how much more ticket sales do we have when we have kids come and eat free. This is the table of marginal change. So this is an estimate, obviously, because we have a promotion on Tuesday. So this is an estimate of what a Tuesday would look like across all comp stores. A comp store is all the stores that they compare. So they have similar sales, similar growth per year, similar volume, and they have, I think it's 14 comp stores. So this, like I said, this is an estimate of what a single Tuesday across all comp stores would look like, and it's broken out by the entrees. But really, look at the 157. That's an estimate of how many kids' meals would be sold on that Tuesday without the promotion. Now, an actual is with the promotion, you have 521, and you see the investment of 261. So basically, over here, you see the marginal change. So we're not getting this $549, and we're also investing this 261, so that marginal investment is $809. Does that make sense? Does everyone follow there? So you can see that the gain on a Tuesday in doing the promotion is we gain 365 kids meals. Like I said earlier, investing 50 cents per kids meal. And overall, I mean, you can read the chart here, investing $809 for a single day across all 14 comp stores. But for a year, it's about 42 grand across all comp stores for the year. So this is some more general information from the next slide. Total ticket sales, I took a sample of a bunch of ticket sales with kids on them for a Tuesday, kids meals on them for a Tuesday across all the comp stores. Average about $29. Number of kids meals per ticket, about 2.13. That we found was actually lined up with the average number of kids per household. So that was kind of funny that that lined up with that. So that broke down to $12.53 per kids meal on a ticket. Now this is what the whole project was working towards, finding the gain of additional sales on each ticket per kids meal. So you see here we have $12.53 of average ticket sales. We're going to take away 30% of that for food costs. So we're multiplying 365 kids meals by that, and we get this pretty much $3,200. Take away the investment, and this is our gain for all comp stores for a single Tuesday. And then annually, it's about $124,000. The information we took away from this is it's not a significant portion of, sales for 14 comp stores. I mean, and for a $90 million company, $124,000 a year isn't that big, but it's one of those things where it increases brand image. It's positive. We're not losing money on it. And a little fun statistic that my boss always likes is for every $1 invested in the kids meal, we're getting almost $3 back in additional ticket sales. So I was able to present in front of something called an ELT, Executive Leadership Team. I'll dive into that in a second. But this is kind of some of the things the discussion points that we started talking about when I was presenting. What happens if we do a Kids Eat Free? Because a lot of our competitors in our markets have a Kids Eat Free instead of Kids Eat for 99 cents. What happens? I had to run back and do a sensitivity analysis. Basically, how many more kids meals do we need to sell to break even compared to the previous promotion? I think that was about 72 meals. And then what the owner, Lou Mashakis, said, which I didn't even think about, was reinvesting the dollar. So instead of Kids Eat Free and eating the whole, what is it, 250 or 150, reinvest it in better meals, better quality, more portions, advertising it better, that type stuff, just reinvesting. Now for the executive leadership team, here are kind of the members. We have Lou and Joy Mashakis, Lou being the founder and Joy being his wife. They both take a very heavy role, mostly in operations. Amber Mashakis, Lou's first daughter, she's VP of Corporate Affairs. She's in the process of basically taking over because I think Lou is pushing 70, so I don't know how much longer he'll be able to maintain a role in the company. John Fink, who was my boss, he's VP of Finance. My mom, the controller. Tanya Daughtry, she does IT and corporate affairs. She's really just project lead. So whenever we implement any sort of project, she's there to help make sure everything runs smoothly and implement it, and really has a big hand in the technology part of it. Lisa Hammond, she's the newest member. I think 6 months ago was when she was hired. She's a VP of HR and training. And then Kat Goldfaden, I believe is how you pronounce her name. She's a brand director. When I saw she was a brand director, I said, why isn't she a director of marketing? And the answer I got back was, there's more to a brand than marketing. She has a hand in everything, you know, what goes on menus, as in the items, so beer and food and stuff. So she has a really big hand in everything, in a lot more than just marketing. Now for the job shadowing bit I did, this is the accounting department org chart here. You see my mom up there. She really worked with the CPA firm for end of year reviews. She does like internal auditing. She checks all the general ledgers and just all the entries in it. And she also does financial statements. Kathy McBab, she is kind of the corporate headquarter accountant. She does the Flying Olive Farm brand, and she also does like all the expenses and accounts payable for the corporate headquarters. Deborah, she's the accounting supervisor. She fills in when needed. She mainly helps Kim with paying bills, and she also works with projects and stuff whenever my mom or John gives them to her. Now, these are the employees that I actually job shadowed. Donna, she's the team lead. She does a lot of bank transfers. They have a single computer like away from everyone else, where you have to have like a PIN to sign in, basically, that changes every year. She also does bank recs and just general journal entries. Betsy Johnson, she does daily sales reports. She basically makes sure all the cash sales from all the restaurants hit the bank. I noticed that this is a lot of calling up general managers and asking, why are the totals different? Why are you reporting something different, and why am I seeing $100 less in the bank? You know what I mean? That kind of variances, she has to figure out why and correct. Kim, she's accounts payable. She pays all the bills. And then Catherine Clark, she also does some bank recs. She does internal accounting reconciliations, and she also does general journal entries. Now, sum up, pros and cons of this. I got to work a lot with Excel. There probably wasn't a day that went by where I wasn't on Excel manipulating workbooks and spreadsheets. I got very familiar with VLOOKUPs. That was a fun tool to learn and work with. Teamwork. There was, like I said, the beer competitive intelligence. I work with Nancy a lot, and we had to really stay on the same page to make sure that we are both putting in the correct information, making sure we're not double dipping, and making sure everything's parallel with what we do. I got a lot of resources, introduction to a lot of resources like the iControl, Mass 90, which is the accounting software that the accounting department uses, and obviously more of a mastery of Excel. Now working on multiple projects, you see that's in pros and cons here. Pros, I mean, I liked working on multiple projects because you're not just working on one project for the whole summer. It doesn't get monotonous, doesn't get boring. You switch up, you're looking at different things. Con of that is some projects that are lower priority get lost in a shuffle. I had one time where John goes, "How is this looking?" I was like, okay, I haven't looked at that in a couple weeks. I need to go look at that because I was working on what I felt like was more of a priority project. Also, refamiliarizing yourself with the data. You look at sales information, then you got to look at something completely different and kind of like refresh yourself on the information that you've gathered and like sample time period and such like that. Deadlines. There would be times I presented most of those projects to the ALT, and there'll be days where meeting would be at 1 o'clock. John would come to me at 9 o'clock and say, you know what, I want to take this out, I want to include this information. So I need to, in 2 or 3 hours, run reports, manipulate data, and basically update the PowerPoint. And that was kind of stressful because I'm like, okay, I have to present in 3 hours. And it was kind of a tight deadline, time crunch there. And then learning curve of software. When I first got there, obviously I didn't know iControl, how to use it. I didn't have really a good understanding of VLOOKUPs and really how to be efficient with Excel. So that learning curve for the first couple weeks was slow and difficult, but once I got a hang of it, it was a lot better. I mean, overall, it was a great experience. I think I learned a lot. Definitely would go back there. I got offered a job after I graduate, so that's good. Takes a lot less stress off, graduation. And yeah, are there any questions? No? Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so my name's Nate Werner, and I worked this summer with the Florence Freedom, and they are a minor league baseball team located in Florence, Kentucky. Here's a quick background of them. They were established as the Florence Freedom in 2002, and that's when they were moved to Florence, Kentucky. They were located in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, as you can see at the bottom there, previously before 2002. Their current owner is Clint Brown, and he took over in November of 2005, and that is when the stadium took over the name of UC Health in correlation with University of Cincinnati, located in Cincinnati. They're a professional baseball team, but they're not associated with any major league teams, so that's where they get the independent league from. So they're still getting paid as a professional player, but they still have ways to go before they make it to a minor league team, which is single A through triple A, and then the big show. They're one of 12 teams in their division, and they're located in the West Division. And 3 of the last 4 years they have made the playoffs. This year is not looking too promising. Been trying to keep up with them a little bit. What I got to experience with them. The majority of it was food and beverage. Like day one when I got there, I talked to the vice president. His name's Josh Anderson. And he didn't really know what to do with me. So we just walk out on the concourse and we run into the guy that's head of food and beverage. His name's Joel Bogart. And he kind of just threw me with him, and that's kind of how everything fell in place, and I enjoyed it. With that, I got to do a lot of the inventory and that process, scheduling and the hiring. A little bit of sales was thrown in the mix, halfway through the season. And I got to work with promotions too. So I'll start with the sales and promotion since it was a little bit not as detailed. We got to do cold calls and ticket sales for packages and sales promotions. So we would have, it was the cancer game, Striking Out Cancer here. I'll go back now. The Striking Out Cancer was, actually I'll go to that slide. It was $250 sales. Like you call a company, you say, hey, we want to get you in on this, and it's only $250, and for most businesses, that's not big. That's not a big amount to give a company. So it buys them 15 tickets, and the whole experience for the Striking Out Cancer game was not for them to come to the game, not for people to come to the game and buy tickets, but to have tickets available so victims that have gone through the cancer process or families that have been affected by it can come and enjoy a day at the ballpark and experience a game and just enjoy their time out there. Going back now, promotions. I got to work with the representative that did all the graphic design work for us. And while I wasn't working with the software, I got to pitch my ideas. And she would come up with the ideas for our promotional nights, like you can see Star Wars, our bike night, and superhero. There's only 3, but we had promotions like every night. Now going on here. Also, we had the All-Star event this year, located in Florence. And for some reason in Florence, the big thing is y'all. And so they called it the All-Star, fittingly. It was more of an in-stadium sales production, so you got that face-to-face. You got to actually go up to people and, kind of confront your fears of being social if you're not too social. But the package deals for that was if you buy 4 tickets in stadium, you get a $10 voucher for concession stand. So I was really trying to push that because I was food and beverage most of the time. But we had a competition with the in-stadium sales people who didn't really do much. And there's 2 other food and beverage people that I worked with that were interns this summer. So we challenged them to try and beat them, and we were actually pretty successful at it. Now on to the majority of what I was doing this summer was the food and beverage aspect of it. Couple things to hit on here. Scheduling is very stressful because you work with a lot of different age groups. You got people that are in high school just looking for something to do during the summer. Usually parents are trying to kick them out of the house because they don't want them sitting around. Then you deal with people that are, older, retired. Those are the more reliable people because, you can count on them. They're not going to call at the last minute and say, hey, can't come to work today. You really have to communicate. It's a big must. Like, make sure you know what everybody's doing. They know what you're doing. They know where you're at all times. We have walkie-talkies to make sure everybody's location's always out there. Somebody can get to someone. And when you're short-staffed, it's not fun. Although I was basically the manager and kind of oversaw things, there was days where I would be a beer guy, or I'd be on a register, or I'd be in the back cooking, or if they needed me upstairs in catering or out in the bar, it didn't matter. Wherever they needed me, they'd use me. The hiring process, it's pretty easy. Like I said, you got teenagers looking for a job or parents that want them to have a job, and then also school teachers too looking for a summer job. They're there. And then you have your older people that just need something to do as well. Being in a management spot, it's easy and it's actually really enjoyable to build those relationships with people. But you need to know when to be strict with them and let them know that you're in charge, and if you need something done that they have to do it, and when to be lenient and kind of joke around and be casual with them. And it's after you find that balance with the people, it's depending on who you're talking to too. When you're talking to teenagers, it's one way, and then the older people, it's another way. And that kind of hits on that last bulletin there too. The inventory process, always stay stocked up. I didn't need 2 bulletins for that, but if you're ever running low on something, it's okay to overstock, especially in dry goods. Food though, since we order in bulk, we work through Reinhardt, which is a food distribution company. Anything that you keep refrigerated or freezed, you gotta keep it right where you need it, because if you have too much of it, it spoils. The walk-in cooler smells really bad. Then you gotta clean it up at night, and it's not fun. And then when you run out of food, customers aren't happy, obviously. People want their hamburgers and hot dogs hot and fresh all the time. Keep the kegs tapped. That's very important because people love to enjoy beer at the ballpark. Cincinnati's a very big area for craft breweries, and it's actually really popular in our area. They have, honestly, I think they have too many craft breweries at Florence Freedom's ballpark, but hey, that's, I guess, not my job. But if it was my job, I'd probably try to get Bud Light in there. But hey, we'll go with Miller. Orders come in on specific days too. You can't just say, hey, we need this, and then they'll deliver it on that day. You got to put it in on Tuesday, that way it's there on Thursday. And if we have a 5-game homestand starting on Wednesday, then you got to put it in on Friday, that way it gets there on the Tuesday before that. I didn't lose you guys, did I? It's kind of a complicated process, but I mean, after you get used to it and you're doing it every week, it just becomes second nature after a while. Food for advertising. So we have a lot, it's a very industrialized area. We have a lot of small companies. We have a lot of local restaurants and everything too. And we like to call them up and kind of get them involved with the ballpark. We'll give them advertising if they bring in food for our front office staff and food for the team. So that's kind of a good trade-off, and that's a good way to make connections with people and get used to being on the phones and talking to people that way. The food and drink reps, as far as the food process, it was all online. It was just type in what you need, how much you need, and whenever it's coming, and you just click a button and pay for it. But the drinks, as far as our alcohol, our liquor and all that stuff, we'd have reps come in throughout the week, and my boss Joel, I got to experience how he would handle them, and he has very, very good personal relationships with them. And I see that as a good networking opportunity because he's been talking about moving on, and he has people go in there and offer him jobs, but he's very dedicated to what he's doing. But that was a good experience, watch him go through all that. Couple things I've learned, just to hit on stuff I've went over. management can be stressful, but it's fun when you're dealing with, the age groups and then the issues, and it's a very, very hands-on thing. Like, being in the concession stands, like, I would manage, like, it's a pretty big ballpark. You have first base and third base concession stands. You have the party patio, downstairs bar, upstairs bar with catering, and the party patio and upstairs. So overall, you're watching over about 35 to 40 employees a game. And every single one of them's got a problem all at the same time. And you can't be everywhere, but you got to take care of it as much as you can. I had 2 other people that were interns that went through it with me, so we kind of divide and conquer. You make a lot of good relationships. I've made so many friends this past summer, a lot of good connections as far as possible job opportunities in the future. Maybe not even at the ballpark, but like people that like work there in a cooperation with them. They've talked to me and stuff. Trying to keep all doors open. Don't be afraid to speak up, even if you're in a position that's supposed to be like a management position, but you got people that are working under you. Because when I got there, there's people there that have been there for like 4 or 5 years. And they're like, hey, how do I do this? I'm like, I don't know. You tell me. Like, you guys know what to do. I'm just learning. But it's helped me develop a lot of needed skills, especially as like a leader and being there and like being supportive and problem solving, because like I said, everybody's got a problem going on. There's something always breaking at that place that has to be fixed. Learn as much as possible too. Like, I was stuck in, like, I got thrown into the food and beverage, which I loved it. Didn't know what it was going to be like, but I ended up loving it. My boss, Joel Bogart, he did as much as he could to where I could learn just about every aspect of how to run that ballpark. So like sales and promotions, the food and beverage, marketing a little bit, like going to events that they had, and just trying to take in as much information with the time that was allowed through this summer. But that is it, and if there's any questions, feel free. Yes?
Where are you from?
I'm from St. Leon, Indiana.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm from Indiana too.
Okay.
I just wanted to know, since you were in Florence.
Yeah, what part of Indiana?
Greenwood.
Okay.
Just like, like close to Indy.
Yeah.
Like downtown.
Yeah, I'm right in that tri-state of Indiana, Ohio, and
Down in the
Kentucky.
little corner.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys have any questions?
All right, my name is Ryan Griffith, and I did my internship at a little gun shop right in Shady Spring, West Virginia called Revolution Tactical. Some general information about it. Like I said, it's located in Shady Spring. That's about 15-20 minutes south of Beckley. It's been in business 3 years. He was out of his house about the first 6 to 8 months or so. And the ATF requires you to have a storefront in order to have a FFL, it's Federal Firearms License. So after about 6 or 8 months, he started getting notices, and basically he had to get a commercial building to do business out of if he wanted to maintain his license. Be 3 years in November. He's been at the place he's at now for 2 years. It's owned by Woodrow Brogan IV. His dad's the head of DNR over West Virginia. A few things they do that like not many other gun shops in the area do is Cerakoting and color filling. I'll get into what Cerakoting is here in a minute. Basically, my first duty was just to learn how to open the store. I mean, when I started off, they just wanted you to do the basics, know how to count the cash drawer, open the store, this, that, and the other. Generally, about twice a week, we receive inventory shipments, so they showed me how to check those in and basically where to put those, how to contact the customers when we got their stuff in. A big part of it, like I said, was communicating with the customers. We had to keep a list of all our customers, their names, information, what they ordered, this, that, and the other. Call them and let them know if there was any problems or when we got their stuff in. And they also showed me how to receive the payments and order items that customers requested. And of course, closing operations as well, I learned. Legal aspect, when you deal with federally regulated stuff such as firearms and all that good stuff, there's a lot of legal aspects to it. The biggest thing is filling out the 4473s, which is the actual document you fill out in order to receive a firearm, whether it be a handgun, long gun, or other. There's also a lot of gun and ammo laws. You can't sell handgun ammo to anybody that's under 21. You can't sell ammo to anybody that's under 18. If somebody's buying handgun ammo for somebody that's not 21, you can't sell that to them either. Basically, straw purchases is a big thing too. A straw purchase, like, you just got to learn how to detect that, and it's illegal if you detect it to sell any firearm to anybody that's trying to do it. What it is like, say your buddy's a criminal, can't legally own a gun. Well, you come in and your buddy picks a gun out and says, you know, I like that one, and then he tries to have you buy it for him. Well, you can't do that. So basically, anybody that's buying a firearm for somebody else that can't legally own it is what a straw purchase is. Another thing that's really important regarding like the ATF and stuff is how you properly log guns. Where we Cerakote and stuff too, that's kind of, it's not manufacturing, it's like a gunsmithing thing, so we got a separate book for our Cerakote book because people don't have to fill out one of those 4473s when they come to get it out. We sign them out of that, and it basically states that they came and picked their gun up. And all the logging does is just keep track of what guns are in-house, what guns are out-of-house, where the guns are, and who they belong to. And also doing firearm transfers. If you order guns offline or anything, you have to find somebody with an FFL in your local area to transfer the firearm to you, which is, once again, just filling out the 4473 to get it in your name. Some of the custom works, these are just a couple pictures I pulled offline, but Cerakoting is like this bottom one here. Basically, it's just a ceramic gun-based finish. There's two different types, bake-on and then air dry. I can get into more details with that in the questions section if you guys are interested. Another thing that's really big and generated a pretty good bit of profit for us was in-house AR builds. The AR-15 rifles and stuff, we built all those in-house. We could order you some too, but people generally liked our prices and the options of having us build in-house, so we did a lot of custom AR builds. In conclusion, the best part about working there, Woody started a business from scratch, so I learned a lot about small business ownership. I got to deal with a lot of the sales reps and everything, so I got to learn about the ordering process, how to deal with sales reps, kind of how offers and stuff like that work with them. I got to work with them in the shop doing custom builds and Cerakoting. Obviously, you meet a lot of local people in the community and get to network with them whenever you're working at a small business like that. Learned the ins and outs of starting a small business, and like I said, overall it was a great experience. Any questions or?
So the Cerakoting, is that like you got a manufacturing part back in the back of the store?
No, what it is, it's essentially like, best way I can use to reference it, kind of like automotive painting, or just like painting. It's a finishing process is what it is.
But it isn't in a form, it's a manufacturing process.
I suppose we take the parts you already give us. Like, say you had a rusted gun barrel or a rusted gun receiver or something. You'd bring it to us, we would strip it down and use that just like auto paint, except it's ceramic based, and we spray it the same way you would spray auto paint. It comes with a hardener and a base. I think you mix it like 24-to-1 depending on what finish you want, whether you want it more glossy or not. And either way you spray it on, the type we use is a heat treated type. So basically after we spray it, we move it straight to the oven. And once again, it varies what temperatures people cook it at. We do it about 180 for an hour and 15 minutes. But it's a lot harder than your standard like old school bluing finishes and stuff. A lot more rust resistant, weather resistant, scratch resistant, just overall better finish. Coincidentally, they do make a air dry thing, but really it takes about a good week when you spray it like that and just let it air dry for the finish to actually complete. For whatever reason, it does have a higher temperature rating on the air dry. It'll resist a lot, like up to 17 or 1800, where the heat treated that we do is like 13. But that's really, I mean, you don't get them that hot.
Any other questions? Thank you.
You're welcome.